Real JP Multimedia, proud sponsor of the Nerdball Podcast. Here to help you with all things audio, video, graphics, photo, web design. From weddings to real estate, commercial business to private use, we offer a big variety of services for almost any budget. And if we can't do it, we will find someone who can. Find us at realjp.com. That's REELJP.com. Real JP Multimedia.
I'm Adam Gumpf, and this is the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
Good job, man. Good job. All right. Thanks for hopping on this podcast. I know you have thousands of kids that you got to put to bed. So I appreciate you coming on. And thanks to Amy for stepping in and taking the baby from you.
Yeah. Good stuff.
How does that process work? Do you guys take turns trying to put the baby to sleep, or is there like one person that the baby seems to cooperate with better?
He's pretty good with either one. So it's just kind of night by night basis. We don't necessarily like rotate or anything.
Yeah.
We don't have really a schedule. It's just if someone's making dinner, then the other person's corralling the kids, and then someone's getting one kid a bath, another kid to bed. So
how was it? You were home. Was that this weekend, or when were you home with all the kids?
Last weekend.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
We made it. It was good. I didn't really. So we had a game obviously Friday night, so I didn't get back till like 11:30. So we had a babysitter for the two younger ones.
Okay.
One stayed the night at a friend's for his birthday. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that helps. And then so Saturday was kind of crazy. I had to wake up, go pick the two older ones up, which was like 30 minutes away.
Yeah. Drive
back. Skylar had a game. McLean, I found out at 11:30 the night before, he had pictures at the exact same time that Skylar had a game. So we made that work. And then McLean had a game like 3 hours later. So once we got to like 3:30, it was shutdown mode, and just keep them alive at that point.
Yeah. Just we're home. Keep the knives in the drawers. Anything else is fair game right now.
Yes. We're not leaving the house.
Yeah. Was there ever a time, and maybe it was with McLean, your oldest, where you were with your kids by yourself and you were freaking out a little bit, or were you always just like, well, whatever, I'll make a deal?
I remember, so Amy does, she teaches AP psychology. So she does like the AP reading. So basically she grades the AP tests.
Okay.
That students take. So before COVID, it was in Tampa.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
9 days long. So I had McLean by myself for 9 days. I want to say he was like 2 or 3. Yeah. And then I had McLean and Skylar when they were 4 and 2 back-to-back years. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. I just tried to make sure that we had something like scheduled every day because it was over the summer. So whether we're going to go to the park and we're going to spend a couple hours there, we went to like a little local beach one day, and they passed out in the car at like 5 in the afternoon and slept the rest of the night. So that was a pretty good day.
Well, sometimes those naps can backfire on you too.
I was a little nervous because I did it the year before with McLean, and he fell asleep, and I just laid him down when we got back thinking, okay, he'll wake up at, an hour later or something like that. And he just slept through the night. So I'm like, we'll try it again next year.
We'll try it again next year. Yeah. Those are the ones where it's like you said, it's like 5 and you're driving home. And you're just in the front seat. No, stay awake.
Yes.
No. The music turned up loud. It's winter. The windows are open. You're just trying to keep awake.
Yes. Eyes are just dried out from the wind whipping. Whatever works,
I think she's sleeping. No, her eyes are frozen.
Just slam on the brakes randomly.
Yes, perfect. Well, I wanted you to come on and talk about baseball. Before we get to the Guardians, did you watch that Blue Jays Mariners game at all? Any of it?
I was flipping back and forth. I didn't get to see a bunch of it, but I was going to the supermarket there at the very end, and before I left, is when the craziness happened, I guess. I didn't see the winning run, but I saw them score the 4 to tie it, especially off of the blooper that scores 3, which was crazy.
Yeah, well, they were up. I mean, they were down 8-1 at one point.
Yeah,
it came back and won.
I saw it was like 8-4 and then 8-5, and then I was watching that 8th inning. I'm like, oh man, just getting out. You know, you think of like obviously the blooper, you're trying to go make a play, and if you make that play, I mean, you're pretty much set up for the victory. But if you just keep it in front, you know, you give up 2 runs right there, but you at least got the lead. It's kind of tough because you're an athlete and you're trying to go do something, but
you're trying to make the play.
Then even if you win that game, you probably lost your center fielder, and you don't know how. I think Bochette, the shortstop, looked like he was hurt a little bit too. So
there's a bunch of people getting beamed in these 2 games. Someone's getting hit in the head too.
It was almost like a carbon copy of the Phillies Cardinals game from the day before. Like out of nowhere, a pitcher just loses it. Like 2 walks, hit by like. How often do you guys see a guy get hit, let alone get hit and a run scores off of it too?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Do you played college baseball? Is that your favorite thing to watch on TV, or your favorite sport? Is it professional baseball?
I would probably say college baseball.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah. Which you don't get to watch a bunch, but like when the tournament starts, I always like that. It's kind of like March Madness for basketball fans, for me anyways. But probably either that or college football. So
okay. All right.
I don't get to watch the Indians very often, so whenever I can, I try to watch it. But I know some people watch. Like down here, one of my buddies, he watches the Rangers probably every night. Might be only for like a couple innings, he'll say, but like he'll make sure he knows every score and all that kind of stuff. So
we do that in the spring when baseball's fresh. You know, Mateo's playing it. Usually, whatever sports Mateo is playing, that's what he wants to. That's what he's super invested in. So he'll want to turn the game on, and we'll just like that. We'll watch a few innings every night that they're on. But now it's football season, so he'll ask me when the Cowboys play, or like the Longhorns destroyed Oklahoma today, which was crazy.
Big win.
It was crazy.
I was at the beginning watching the Indians. I was flipping back and forth, and it was like 14-0. I'm like, oh, okay, hopefully you can hang on to that. And then I didn't turn it back till like late in the Indians game just to check, and it was 42-0. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we had 2 softball games this morning. We had a tournament, our first tournament, and we went out to eat afterward. So I was flipping to the baseball game, and then we went to B-Dub. So they had the Texas game on. I'm like, man, this is insane. 49-0. Quinn Ewers had 4 touchdowns.
Crazy.
I was pretty pumped about that. Now, I don't know what's going to happen now, but because Oklahoma, I mean, neither of them are ranked, and that was the first time in a long time that neither of them were ranked. So
I want to say my buddy who's a A&M fan, so he obviously hates both of those teams. He was talking about like it was the first time that they've both been unranked since they joined like the Big 12, maybe. Yeah. Obviously, that'll change once they move to the SEC, but that's kind of crazy. So like, what's that, 26 years or something like that? So
a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't get to watch, like I said, I had softball. I didn't get to watch a lot of the Guardians game, but I don't know. It was so frustrating. How, like, I was frustrated, but like I wasn't super frustrated because they weren't getting anybody on base anywhere. So there was at no point was I like nervous to get a run in, or even the other team.
It was, I don't know if I've watched a game, especially like a playoff game, quite like that. Obviously, the Indians are not known for being offensive juggernauts, probably for most of our fandom, at least once they got through the 90s. So but still, I don't know if it was, obviously both teams are loaded with pitching, and everybody knew it was going to be low scoring games. If you looked at the 6 games they played in the regular season, I think they said all but one were decided by 2 runs or less.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that, I don't know what the average score was, but I'm pretty sure they said it was like a total of like 6 runs between the 2 teams every game. So,
well, even the last game they played in the regular season was 2-1.
Yeah. And I think they said 3 of the 6, 2 or 3 of the 6 went to extra innings. So I wasn't shocked that a game was going to go extra innings, but I guess that's what MLB wanted, is in the regular season, avoiding games like that. That's why they have that guy start at second base. But
yeah, the ghost runner. I didn't realize that in the playoffs that wasn't a thing, because we were sitting at B-dubs when it went to extra innings, and then I noticed there wasn't a runner on. I'm like, oh, I guess they don't do that in the playoffs.
Yeah, probably good for the Indians.
Dude, there was I was looking at some stats before. There was 39 strikeouts between both teams, 104 plate appearances, which seems like a lot. Let's see. The pitchers for the game were combined ERA of 0.31.
Just studs.
And there were platinum sombreros for both sides. So
yes, I saw Jimenez was at least his first 5 at-bats he struck out.
Yeah,
I think he went.
He was over
the whole game.
He was 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, or maybe 0 for 6. No, he was 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, and then Jose Siri was 0 for 6, but he hit a ball in the center field in the 11th inning. But they had combined 10 strikeouts, so 2 platinum sombreros, which I never heard of a platinum sombrero. The furthest I saw was golden. So,
man, they're just running out of names. They just got to keep adding a different medal or whatever to them.
Just different elements. Yeah.
Yes. I have witnessed a golden sombrero. Luckily, it was not me, but was one of my teammates. So I've never even heard of the 5 strikeout day.
No. Was that in college?
It was I want to say summer ball right before college.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be devastating.
And we were all celebrating for him.
How do you celebrate that?
I mean, he was pretty upset, but we were all just cheering as he struck out the 4th time.
Oh yeah, great.
What are you supposed to do? I mean,
yeah, no, you're.
I mean, he's trying. Yeah, just a rough day.
You're all cheering for him.
What I thought was crazy is I don't know how many times the Indians struck out. Obviously, they got to have. You would imagine close to half of that.
20.
Yeah. Glasnow, who was filthy the whole. He only threw 5 innings, but he only had 5 strikeouts. So I felt they were doing an okay job on him, as good as he is. But then it was just freaking. It seemed like once it went to extra innings, that almost every hitter for the Indians was down 0-2. Like every time I was looking, it was 0-2, and you're like, oh, there goes that at bat.
Yeah, and their pitchers would come in. One of their pitchers pitched 1 1/3 and had 4 strikeouts, or another pitcher was pitched 2 innings and had 5 strikeouts. Like, all right, guys, let's put the ball in play here a little bit, man. Yeah.
You feel bad, and then once they brought Kluber in, I was like,
I was just gonna bring that up, dude, because I mean, we're all huge fans of him. Like he was a big part of the Guardians. You know, when in their heyday had a couple Cy Youngs, and like that was our dude, you know, for a long time. And I didn't know he was pitching until a couple weeks ago. I didn't realize he was still pitching.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent year, I think, especially with everything he's gone through after the trade.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I
can't go any worse for him. Yeah. I mean, like I was at McLean had a flag football game, so I was watching most of the extra innings on my phone, and Amy was kind of texting me, giving me updates. And right as we got back, she even made a joke. She's like, McLean's game's going to get over before this game does. And I'm like, oh, no way. We're in the 10th or the 11th at that point.
Yeah.
And we get back, and as soon as we walked in, I turned around. I'm in the kitchen, turn around, and Gonzalez hits the home run. And I was like, yes. And then you see Kluber, and you're like, oh, man, that sucks for him.
I know.
But I'm glad we hit the home.
Yeah. That the awesomeness outweighs the sadness, but it's still like, because as soon as, I mean, those guys know. Obviously, Oscar Gonzalez knew he freaking smoked it. And by the way, he pimped his walk, right? And then Kluber too. Like as soon as you, I would imagine being a pitcher and even hearing it, you're like, that's probably gone.
Yeah, you just walk off at that point.
How like it seems like every pitch is just so magnified. I mean, it's already like that with baseball in the playoffs, but you're in the 12th, 13th, 14th, the 15th inning, and you're down to your last pitcher. Like, man,
especially for the Rays, like for the Indians, at least going out there, you know you have an opportunity to respond. Not that that's great, but like you have an at bat. But being the Rays guy, and okay, you get another 1, 2, 3, or you get out of the inning, and then your offense does nothing.
Yeah,
and you got to go like you're on the edge the entire time. It's it's crazy.
Yeah. I was we were waiting to be sat at B-Dubs when they had the bases loaded with nobody out, and Jose Ramirez was up, and I'm like, oh yeah, and Liz was like, what's going on? I'm explaining to her I'm just watching on my phone, and on my phone it said 3 balls, no strikes. I'm like, all right, and then it just changed to 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
whoever the app messed up or whatever. And then he struck out.
Excited.
Yeah. And then he struck out.
You couldn't ask for a better situation for Cleveland.
I know.
You've got your dude, bases loaded. Just put the ball in play. Ground out. Double play. Yeah. 1 run. 1 run is just huge. And they can't get anything. And then they literally did nothing before that and after that until the home run.
Yes. There was not even a threat. I tell you what was awesome, and we shot a few texts, is that play that Jose Ramirez made from the coach's box at third base, man, and then the stretch by Naylor at first base.
Yes. Well, then I instantly got nervous because their first base coach, I don't know if you noticed,
he was going nuts.
Immediately saying that he was off the bag. I'm like, no, they're going to lose on a review.
Yeah.
But then the phenomenal play.
Yeah, the commentary even said well, the coach is going crazy, but the batter usually is the one that will go crazy, the runner, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I felt a little bit better. And then with those two, just like football, it has to be pretty obvious, otherwise they're not going to overturn it. So. But yeah,
I thought that was pretty cut and dry too. You could see his toe dragging on there. Mm-hmm. Then you're hoping, usually when you make a stud play like that and you come up then the bottom of the inning, something's going to happen. Then he struck out. I'm like, man, it's just.
They're like, how'd you strike out 5 times this inning? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I was going to call my dad because my dad I mean, everybody loves blowouts, but my dad just loves blowouts. He'd much rather every game be 50-0. It doesn't matter the sport. He just wants it because he gets too worked up. And I never noticed it as much. And then I got older. I'm like, man, he does. He's super into this thing, and he's too worked up. I can be cool. I can get excited, obviously, and be down or whatever. But I think once we grew up, his own he doesn't have responsibilities as far as kids are concerned. So that's his thing. And when he's watching sports, he'll watch the replays during the regular season of the Guardians only if they win. Otherwise he won't watch them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he's so I wanted to call him and talk to him and see how he is, because he was probably just stressing out.
I'm sure. I was more like that as a kid. I remember whatever, if the Steelers lost or Penn State lost, whoever, I wouldn't watch Sports Center the next day. Refuse to.
Yeah.
I would avoid whatever I had to avoid for at least 3 or 4 days. And I as a kid, I'd watch Sports Center as much as I could.
Yeah. Or you'd watch it, and when they go to those highlights, you flip it off for a little bit.
Yes, I can't do it. Now it's not as much of a big deal. But.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. And I think I equated to us having kids, and we're like, well, all right, they lost. I got to go change a shitty diaper or whatever. You just you got to do something else.
I'm more upset that I stayed up and watched it, and I'm getting
and now I'm tired.
6 hours of sleep instead of 8.
Oh yeah, I had a boss when I worked at UT. He's an Ohio State fan, and they're always in the playoffs or always in the championship games or whatever. And he would always we knew he wasn't coming in the next day, regardless if they won or lost. But we knew he's gonna stay up and watch the game. And he would tell us hey, I won't be in tomorrow. Just because he's watching the Ohio State game. I'm like, man, I want to do that. I want to know,
nice.
Hey, I got to stay up late to watch the Super Bowl. I'm just not coming in.
Well, then, especially being on the East Coast, those games just start so late.
I know.
You get spoiled a little bit down here. That extra hour makes a huge difference.
Oh, I'm sure. So now they go play the Yankees. I didn't I mean, I know obviously the Yankees are good. They have over 100 wins. But I don't know.
I think they failed to make it to 100 wins.
Oh, I thought they had 100 wins.
So, somebody, unless I heard wrong, somebody, I don't know if it's like Sports Center or maybe like during one of the games.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
They said that like they were on pace at one point, like deep into the season, like close to halfway into the season, and they were on pace for 118 wins. They said that they didn't make it. Yeah.
99.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, I mean, I'm not a giant fan. I mean, I love the Guardians, but it's not like I'm like, all right, well, what's their season? I know everything by heart, like what their season record is or the Yankees and all this stuff. But I just, I was hoping, I was looking at the times and I was hoping we'd be able to go to one, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. When was the last playoff game? I think we might have talked about it, but when was the last playoff game you went to?
I take that back. I've only been to one. We were talking about it on the,
the draft, probably.
The draft one. I went to game 3 of the ALDS in 2001. CC Sabathia's first playoffs.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
they won like 15-1, I think, if I remember
right. All right.
Yeah. So I guess if you're going to go to one, that was a good one to go to.
Yeah. So they play, they start Tuesday. They play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Is it 2 away, 3 home, 2 away?
No, 2-2-1. So 2 at New York,
okay.
2 at Cleveland, and 1 back in New York for game 5.
Oh, I forgot. I keep thinking it's 7-game series. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
5-game series. Okay. Extra round of playoffs got me all messed up.
Yeah, so I was all confused. I think me and Jim and Tyler talked about it on the podcast, and I didn't realize they like changed the format. I knew they had a 3-game series, and I was like, and I didn't know. I was like, well, I didn't realize that was new, and then I didn't realize all of them, like for Cleveland, all of them were home. So I was talking to my dad about that. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess it gives them. I mean, something like, right. You won the division, so you got to get something out of it.
Right. I think I like it. I know that some people are against more teams, and I get like, the NBA or NHL, you got teams that sneak in that don't even have a winning record, but I think 6 is a pretty good fit. It'll be interesting to see the effect it has on the teams that had a bye, like having, I think it's like almost a week off because you had the rest day. The season ended Wednesday, so then you started playing Friday. So you got the rest day Thursday, 3 games, and then everybody's off Monday. So it'll be interesting to see having 5 days off. How does that impact, a team like, sometimes you see like a wild card team in the NFL upset the number 1 or number 2 seed. Like, is it going to have a huge impact, or is it more of an actual benefit for those top 2 teams?
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I obviously everybody hates the Yankees if you're not a Yankees fan.
Correct.
But I think I hate the Astros more because of everything that they did. Yes. And I think there's a lot of people feel that way too. So I'm pretty excited. Also because, I mean, our pitching's so good, obviously today, but like just like the starters in general, like the only one I'm worried about, and especially going against the Yankees, is Tristan McKenzie because he gives up so many home runs.
Right. If you watch the game today, you can see like he's purposely throwing up in the zone, which is effective for him. Obviously, he had a great year, but if you miss your spot to Judge or Stanton and the rest of the $700 million club that they got over there, they can make you pay, where the Rays don't have nearly as many of those type of guys. So obviously it was 0-0 in the 50.
Right. That's great.
And the only run they scored was from their 9-hole hitting a home run. So it's crazy. But also I'm excited because if you remember back in 2020 when the Indians kind of came out of nowhere and they didn't sneak into the playoffs, but they got into the playoffs and played the Yankees. And that was the year Bieber had that unbelievable year. He had like a 1.5 ERA, and he just got absolutely shelled by the Yankees. So
was that the one? Were we all on Zoom watching it?
Yes.
Together? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And everybody's TV was a little different.
Yes. Yeah. And there wasn't a lot to cheer about too. So it was just like one person be like, oh, and then 5 seconds later, for everybody else. So hopefully he gets some redemption. I think he'll be set up for game 2, maybe game 3. So it'd be good for him to kind of bounce back. Obviously threw real well yesterday. So
a couple other off-topic stuff. This is we've talked about it a lot on the Dad podcast, but our mancation, I sent out a big email that caused a ruckus. How do you feel? How do you feel about the format of our vacation? So what happened, just in case anybody cares, what happened was the first vacation, I basically planned everything with input from people. We voted on where we wanted to go, but there was like 10 places to vote on. Half the people didn't vote on. I don't know how the one we ended up with is the one we ended up with. I don't know how many people voted. But then that was it. It was a lot on me. It was a lot like, okay, well, how do we do this? And then as soon as everything was settled, like a year in advance, I'm like, okay, well, I have to do something different, because that was too much. It was too much for everybody. People wanted to do stuff, voted, and some people didn't. So I just went the dictator route and said, here's a panel of 3 people. You can all submit your ideas to the panel, and we're splitting the United States up into 3 sections, Central, East, and West. We're only looking at stuff in the West for this vacation. And then I got the responses I thought I'd get. So
I think, it's a good idea. I think what worked well, I obviously didn't get to go, but I got to see you guys for lunch.
Yeah.
Is kind of being somewhat close to where somebody lives. So that way, if you wanted to have an extended vacation, it kind of worked out where I know some of you guys came down like a day or 2 early.
Yeah.
And stayed and then had to drive the 3 hours, whatever it was, to get down there. So I like that kind of idea. And I know we've got George out west, and then obviously everybody that's still kind of back home with you and Zollers and whatnot. So kind of having like a place where everybody can kind of come in, fly in, whatever, and then make your way to whatever the destination is. So
yeah. But
East Coast will be interesting since nobody's really like in the East Coast. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think I mean, the east part of the United States I think I just used the Mississippi River.
Right,
but
so it's huge.
yeah. The West is the smallest, but it's hard to like split stuff up. Like with that, I made it straight lines. If I didn't, it'd be like over here and then jetting back and then cutting this state, and it was all weird. So yeah, that one's slated for 2026. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I expected those comments, and
from the exact people that delivered the comments to, I'm sure.
100%. So we'll see how that works. We'll roll with that. We'll see how that goes when we start planning that. One more thing too before we go. Playoff rankings came out for us for high school football.
Okay.
We moved up to number 3.
That's exciting.
So we were number 4, now we're number 3. So we're still slated to play 2 home playoff games.
That would be awesome.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? Well, last year you guys won your first playoff game, but the first one since 2015 or something like that.
Well, our first Division I playoff game ever.
Yes.
Since moving to Division I. So as of now, 116, 215, 314. So we would play a team called Northmont from Clayton. I don't even know where that's at.
No idea.
So we've officially clinched the playoff spot, according to this website we use all the time. But yeah, we're number 3. So
congratulations on clinching. That's huge.
Yeah. It's an exciting season. It was an awesome game Friday against Northview, who's not very good. I think it ended up being 56-10, I believe. It was 49 nothing at halftime, something like that.
It's always nice to have those type of games after such a big game the week before.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't need a letdown or a nail biter against someone that you should beat. So
yeah, and they beat Mommy, so we'll see how Mommy is come in a couple weeks here.
Yeah. So how many games you guys have left?
We got two at Springfield and then home against Maumee for the final Perrysburg Maumee game for who knows how long.
Crazy.
Yep. Sorry, I even have my Maumee shirt on right now.
There you go.
It was 31 degrees this morning at the softball game. So
went to Skylar's game this morning. It started at 9 and it was 70 degrees and overcast. And people acted like it was the coldest day in the history of Texas. Like McLean, Jaden, and I show up. I had Riggs strapped to me, and we're all wearing shorts and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And the kids were a little cold. I mean, it was, for down here, chilly. But one mom was behind me, and she was calling her husband. She's like, "You got to bring me a sweatshirt. It's cold. I'm freezing." I'm like, just sitting there. We're fine. We're good. So.
70 degrees, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm like, this is a wonderful spring, summer afternoon in Ohio.
One other thing. I don't know if you heard about it. Not to end the podcast on a downer. So did you hear anything about the Central Catholic Whitmer game yesterday or see anything?
I just heard right before I got on, I saw my cousin post, who lives, I guess, a few minutes away from Whitmer, that he heard gunshots.
Yeah, so there was probably, someone said like a dozen gunshots. There was 3 people shot. Nobody died that I know of. They said last night it was non-life-threatening injuries. But there's a video, because BCSN was there. There's a video of a play, and as the play is about to start, you hear all the gunshots. And then it's like a wide view, and then you see everyone just running. The gunshots were outside of the stadium. But then, you see all these people running, and then that's like, all right, we're going to take a break. And then obviously they just canceled the game. It was the Central was up by 30 at that point, but they just canceled the rest of the game. Coach Kriegel was there too, because he does BCSN, kind of like a Friday. It's called like Friday tailgate or whatever, like Friday game day.
Okay.
But he had left before that. But I can't imagine, like, sometimes, like, when you hear these school shootings, you think like, all right, well, what I do? Like, I can't even imagine like being at something like that and knowing like this. I know exactly what I would do, because I don't think you can until you're in that situation.
Right. Plus, every situation is different. Are you there with your family? Are you coaching?
Yeah.
Obviously how you respond in those situations would be very different if you're just there with, a couple buddies or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're responsible for some people, then like, I don't know what you would do as the team or one of the teams, like, especially the visiting team. Where do you go? Like, can you even get to the bus?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth getting to the bus? I don't know. It's crazy that kind of stuff is happening, like at a school function.
And it happens. I feel like it happens at least once every couple of years at like a city league school, or Whitmer. It happened at Whitmer. But it seems, well, just like with any gun stuff, it just seems more prevalent. Or maybe it's because there's social media and stuff everywhere. But regardless of that, like, it just, obviously that's not the issue, but it just seems like it's just everywhere all the time now.
Yeah.
So there was a few weeks ago at Lillian School. Mateo is not in elementary anymore. He's in the 5th or 6th grade building. So Lillian was at school, and they had a lockdown because a student reported somebody outside. Come to find out, it was just an old man. He had a chair with him, but the student was worried, and he said it looked like a gun. So he locked everybody down. And then Lillian, I just asked her about it. She said she cried for a little bit because like Mateo wasn't there, and
yeah.
And then I told Andrea, because Lillian came and she was like, she talked about it a little bit and we discussed what was going on or whatever. And I think she was worried too, because one of her friends like wasn't in her class, like got locked out of the class and ended up in another classroom. So she was worried about him. But then later that night, or I guess I would say earlier the next morning, she woke up and she was crying and she was kind of freaking out about it or whatever. And I told Andrea, I was like, people during mask time, people were complaining about masks and how it's going to, mess with their kids' psyche and their social this and that, and they're going to be traumatized and all this stuff. And I told Andrew, I was like, I don't know, Lillian wore a mask for over 2 years and she never woke up in the middle of the night crying about it. You know what I mean? And this took one time for someone to be like, to think there might be a gun outside, and she didn't have a good time with it. Obviously she had a hard time with it, and it woke her enough to wake her up in the middle of the night crying, and so people need to realize, like, there are bigger issues here, and that's one of them, man.
Right. I mean, you think, not to go too much off tangent, but you think about like everything since Columbine and how many school shootings that there have been, and obviously down here with Uvalde and everything that happened, and then it seems like every state has been impacted at some point.
Sure.
It may not have happened in your community or our community or whatever, but it seems like everybody knows somebody that has been impacted. One of the coaches I worked with last year was from Uvalde, so he knew some of the people that were down there and everything. Yeah. So it's just sad that that's just how society is right now. And hey, I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. Obviously there's not a quick fix, otherwise it would have happened already.
Thoughts and prayers is the fix.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on here. I always appreciate you, and I just texted you a couple hours ago wanting to come on, but I appreciate you wanting to come on and talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. So
yeah,
it worked out good. Me. So hopefully we can come back on after a three game sweep here, and
I'll take it any way we can get it, whether it's 3 or 5, or I could look ugly, doesn't matter.
Hopefully, I mean, it'd be sweet to win in 3. But if they don't, the 4th game is on a Sunday, so I'm gonna see if we can for Mateo's birthday, if we can go and check out the game. Yeah. So, all right, Adam. Well, thanks again. Say hello to your lovely wife, Amy, and I'll be talking to you, man.
All right. Say hi for us to the family, and go Windians.
Thanks, everybody, for checking out this episode of the Nerd Ball Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're hearing this, on any of the podcatchers. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're coming at you 2 times a week now, audio and video. Check us out on all the social medias. Just search the Nerd Ball Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're out there. Gmail is the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to shoot us an email, we'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.